Welcome back, everyone. This is the third episode of the Fancy Chairs podcast. Today we have a new guest with us. If y'all would want introduce yourselves.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Zach. How are you doing today? The people that are sitting in the chairs next to me.
Hey, it's me, Dom, back again. This time half of my mouth is fucking out, so let's go.
Amazing. That's what's it called? Dentistry or something, I don't know. Mouth
Yeah,
work.
the fucking dentist got a cavity filled. It's still numb.
Brush your teeth more. If that's the problem.
No, just down mouthwash by the gallon.
You know, that's also.
Drink a whole fucking bottle of mouthwash. Don't even switch around, just drink it.
When I boil pasta, I don't use water, I use mouthwash. Right.
I just take toothpaste and I just eat that shit. You know, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
It's a snack.
Delicious.
Delicious snack.
Dentistry aside, today we'll be talking about Physician Unique and the Multiverse of Craziness. It just released on Disney Plus. So that's I think that okay. So I watched it in theaters, but I ended up watching it again with my mom, who's like extremely religious. So that was a fun experience. every 20 minutes, she would lean over and be like, "That doesn't seem. That wasn't very cash money." Or this was an abridged version of what she said. She was like, "That's not very cash money of Doctor Strange." Yeah. I watched it in theaters with a friend, and it was fun. So,
yeah, I saw it in theaters twice. Once when I was still in Arizona, and then once when I got back to California, and I saw it with friends. But it was only very recently that I realized this movie is about a racist suburban mom trying to kill a Mexican.
truly.
Fuck. And all right.
That was pretty much
yeah.
how it was.
Yeah, that's not the plot of the movie.
That is the plot of the movie. But not wrong. Oh man.
Yeah.
No, I saw it in theaters with family, so that was a good time. As it goes.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? It was really unfortunate that I think I ended up going to Arkin, so I couldn't get the cool AMC box thing. But like, if I did get the box, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Oh,
What do you mean?
The first time I saw the movie, the theater I went to was still had Morbius cups for sale. So I bought the Morbius cup for Doctor Strange mom, and I went and watched it with the Morbius cup. You know, the true Multiverse of Madness right there.
Yeah.
There's these videos on TikTok where they respond to comments, and it's like someone like lists a fictional character, and then they tie it back to Morbius.
Oh my.
These people have crossed over, and then it leads to Morbius. So Morbius and this fictional character could cross over.
Incredible.
But yeah, what's it called? The box I was referring to was like a popcorn box, but it was just like it was Doctor Strange themed. It was like the orange flashy stuff that he does, but it was a popcorn box, and it looks cool. But I don't know what I would have done with it afterwards. Like now, it just smells like popcorn. It's just sitting in my room or something, you know. Because now,
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that because when Endgame came out and I went and saw it in theaters, I went to an AMC and they had like a special popcorn bucket for it, and I bought it. I'm staring at it right now. I don't think I've used this thing in like 3 years, so it's just like, why did I buy this?
put popcorn.
You know? Yeah, I did do that like the first couple weeks, and then again I just stopped at some point.
Just put anything that fits. Just put it in there.
It's storage for me now.
Very good.
Yeah, the movie itself. Thoughts, y'all? What did y'all think of it?
I really liked it.
Yeah, I thought it actually did really well, taking everything that they've been leading up to with like WandaVision feeding into it. They handled all the storylines well.
What I went in wanting a Sam Raimi movie, and I got my Sam Raimi movie. He did not hold back, and I'm very happy that he didn't. Like the deaths aren't the most brutal deaths in all of movie history, but for the MCU, those were like brutal deaths, and it only happened that way because Sam Raimi took over. You know, I saw a lot of like dumb tweets after the movie, people being like, I don't like the style, it's too different, it's just like, it looks like a 90s horror film, as if like Sam Raimi didn't invent the like cheesy 90s horror film like visuals. Like, of course it does, Sam Raimi directed it. Get a fucking life, losers. It's style, learn it. But yeah, and again, he didn't disappoint, because literally everything from like the music fight to Zombie Strange to like the deaths I mentioned earlier, this whole movie was stylized and just visually looked amazing. And that's probably what I love most about it.
I feel like this is the first MCU movie where you look at it and you're like, that director did, or like you could tell, like, you know, oh, this is a Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi did it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because in like phase 1, you can definitely tell like the directors, like what director was directing it, but then like starting in phase 2, it became very much that like it has to look exactly the same. It has been stuck that way for like so long. I think like the first Guardians is like the one exception to that, really, because that was completely different from the rest of phase 2. But like there really hasn't been an MCU movie where like you can directly like tell who directed it or the style since like I'm not even gonna say like the first Avengers movie. I'm gonna say like Captain America, the first Captain America movie. Honestly,
yeah. It did really set a tone, but I think like the things that took place primarily in outer space. So Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 definitely have their own individual feels to it. I will say Guardians 2 lean more into that standardization of Marvel movies and what they're supposed to look like. But I also thought Thor Ragnarok did really well, and that's just the genius of Taika Waititi that state. Him as a director, you can tell that there's just the way that comedy is shot and the way that all of the subtle nuances that he puts into all of his, it came through Thor and honestly made one of the best, if not the best, Thor to date. So let's be honest, the Thor franchise was not the greatest of the solo movies.
My sister, she keeps trying to watch the first one, and she could not get through the first one without sleeping. I now that I'm looking, I haven't even watched the second one.
So yeah, okay. The second one, that was just a pure fucking disaster, honestly. But that was mainly studio tampering. But I actually really like the first. I feel like I'm in the minority when it comes to the first Thor, but I really like how it's like shot and acted like it's supposed to be a Shakespearean story. I find that really interesting, and I like the style of it. Then again, I'm also in the majority of the people that like Shakespearean plays, or the minority, not the majority. But I don't know. There's something about the first Thor movie. Again, it's like it has a very distinct style, and I think that's why I like it. Again, like a lot of the like phase 1s was definitely had a lot of style to it. Like Iron Man was very much like, like it's very like technical, like all the tech stuff. And then like the first Captain America movie is like 1940s film serial. And then like I said, Thor is like a Shakespearean movie. But I understand why people wouldn't like it. It's just, but the second one, yeah, that one was all studio tampering. I have no idea. Dark World just got fucking butchered with whatever the fuck they were going for.
Eccleston had a...
What were you saying?
I was gonna say, Christopher Eccleston is the villain. He plays, I don't remember,
Malekith.
Dark Elf? Malekith, the Dark Elf? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a really good actor in his own right. It's just they really did him dirty in the movie, and it's just like, honestly, the only reason I remember him in that role is because of like me just understanding, oh, he's a doctor from Doctor Who, so I know all other stuff from him.
No, I agree. Christopher Eccleston is a great actor, but he just got like screwed with this role. I think he's gotten like on record to say that basically he was promised one thing for the movie, and then they did something completely different. So they really like fucked him over, and he was like very mad at Marvel for doing that.
I mean, I would be too, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I only
And
know
we
that-
haven't really talked about Multiverse of Madness.
No, we haven't. We've completely sidetracked to Thor.
That's fine.
Yeah.
As far as Thor goes,
Yeah.
So I had watched. I'd gotten to like Infinity War, right? And they brought up the Reality Stone, and I was like, "What the hell? When did this come into the MCU?" And turns out it was the second Thor movie, which I did not.
Thor movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Thor 2 is like a category of like film and television where like it's part of like a larger thing, and it's really bad. But you can't skip it because something very important happens. So you have to watch the really bad thing to get that one bit of like extremely important context. Otherwise, you're like fucking lost if you don't watch it.
I had to look
So
it
you
up
can't
after Infinity War.
Like you can't skip it no matter how much you want to because it's like crucially important to the story and everything.
Yeah.
That's
That's so true.
I watched Thor Ragnarok, and I was like, "Where's his mother?" So yeah, a lot of stuff happened in that movie where I was like,
Yeah, his
was,
mother
like,
died, the reality stone was
important.
introduced.
but it was more like, "Oh, I feel like we missed a step here."
Loki took over Asgard. That was like another important thing that happened at the end of Dark World that they brought up in Thor Ragnarok. There's a lot.
Too, I was
There's,
confused. I was like, "What happened to Odin?"
Yeah,
I probably should have watched Lord of the Dark World just to see.
Probably
what I
sh-
did.
Exactly.
yeah,
Just to say I've done it.
yeah. I don't know. I was like obsessed with the MCU in like high school. Like I would like I figured out the timeline order, and I would constantly watch it in chronological order. Like every time something new would come out, and not just like a new movie, because like I still consider like the Netflix shows and Agents of Shield canon. So like anytime a new season of that would come out, I go through it again. But by the time like Infinity War came out, I was just like, I've done this too much. I'm starting to feel fatigue. So I made the decision there, like right then and there, that I'm gonna do this one more time for Endgame that comes out next year. And then I'm not doing it again until the next Avengers movie comes out. And I've been good on my word on that. And I feel like when I do return, it'll be like a brand new, fresh coat of paint. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it's like evolved. Cause like, I don't remember Iron Man coming out, but I do know it came out in like 2008. And just the fact that. Because like more often than not, people will talk about things that I wasn't like alive for, or like, oh yeah, but this is one of those. This is like a huge thing that it was just like, damn, you know, I'm older than this, you know, because I started getting into like Star Wars and all that stuff, but it was stuff that I was not like there for. But the fact that this is within like my life, the fact that like how many movies? I don't know how many movies, but like from 2008 to 2022 is how much is expanded and whatnot. It's crazy.
There's like over 20 movies, but I actually I saw the first Iron Man in theaters. That is the first PG-13 movie I saw in theaters. I have a vivid memory of that.
Nice.
Yeah. I was in first grade when that movie came out.
But yeah, the first Iron Man is good, you know. For
it's still a great movie. Yeah. Controversial take, but the CGI in the first Iron Man is better than the modern MCU movie.
Yes. I was just about to bring that up because I was like, I was doing a rewatch recently with my mom, and I was just like, oh yeah, let's just watch Iron Man, and then that first fight scene with the Mark II, I think, and like it's just so clean and realistic. Like this could be a totally real thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, your suspension of disbelief is completely blown out of the water, and it's just like, why do we not have this now?
Misael, you and I like talked about this with with the last Jurassic Park episode, where like technology is evolving backwards.
Exactly. And that's the thing about the suits, the Iron Man suits, is that like, and the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, because they felt like they had weight to them. I missed the little sounds, because like
Yes.
with like the whirring and all that, and then like when his face with the face mask would come over, like that clunky noise. Like, sure, nanotech is cool, but it seems kind of like lazy, to be honest, to quickly like demask him. Because I remember when I was younger, I was always like, why do they take off their mask in fights? Isn't that to protect them? But now I realize it's so that they can show the actor's face. And I was like,
save some money on CGI as well.
And it's just like, I miss the clunkiness of the suits, even if they're less techy or whatever. I miss the fact that you could hear like when he landed, the ground shook, like boom, you know. But now it's just like it's just a weird. And the thing that annoys me about the nanotech stuff is that every character has it now, or has some form of it. You have Spider-Man with the quick zoom, you have Black Panther, quick zoom, the Wasp and like Ant-Man, the quick zoom, like quickly like revealing their face, and it's like that's dumb. I don't like that.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only one that really like kept it to be like a bigger, clunkier sound was Cap. Because the helmet was a standard issue World War.
Yeah, he had an actual fucking costume.
But yeah, it's those like little things that you kind of like miss from them, and I hopefully they bring some form of that back in Armor Wars, but I don't think they will. I think they're just gonna.
They're definitely not going to. It's going to be like a nanotech war machine. I'm calling it now.
Maybe. Because where people are hypothesizing Riri Williams is going to end up in Armor Wars.
Oh, there's like no question about it. They're introducing her in the next Black Panther movie, and she's an Iron Man related character, so she's definitely winding up in Armored Wars.
Yeah.
It's fun. The
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Multiverse.
we kind of went on a tangent there. But yes, Doctor Strange. I was kind of hoping it was going to be one R-rated. Like I'm happy with what we got, but I was kind of hoping it'd be R-rated and leaned more into like the horror aspect. Because I remember the hype around here was like, oh, it's the first MCU horror movie, and then I watched it and I was like, it really isn't. It's more like a thriller, but even then, it's kind of taking it. It's more like there were 2 jump scares and boom, that was it.
It's a PG-13 Sam Raimi horror film, is what it is. Yes. It's not like a horror. Because again, Sam Raimi is known as like the master of cheesy horror. If you've ever seen like Ash vs. Evil Dead or like any of the Evil Dead movies for that matter, then you've basically seen Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, but
as you know,
the hype around the fact that they kept. I feel like if they were to say if it was a Sam Raimi horror movie, my expectations would have been different. And I would have been like, oh.
But they just said horror film.
It was more like it's a horror film. I feel like that was trying to to get everyone, the horror fans and all that stuff to come in. Like the hardcore horror fans. But it was still pretty good. The only the jump scares don't do it for me anymore. I'm not a big fan of jump scares because they're overused.
There actually was one jump scare that did kind of get me a little bit, and I don't even know if it was the movie itself or because the person next to me got so fucking scared by it that then in turn scared me, just as a chain reaction. It was when they were in the tunnels and they're trying to close the doors on her, and they're flooding the sewers. You know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they just stop for some reason, and then she just appears on the other side of the door. I don't think it was really that got me. I think it's because I knew it was coming, but I think it really was just the person's reaction. So the person next to me, they fucking jumped the first time I went and saw it. And I think it was more that got me than the actual jump scare of the movie.
Yeah, because the jump scares were they were kind of easy to. They were. It's not about predicting. It's more like the cues where you're just oh, something's gonna happen. It's gonna suddenly happen.
Yeah.
It's more like the shock factor. But not the scariest part, but the most. And I don't want to seem like this shook me to my core, but I guess the most visually disturbing part. Not because for me, I'm more of a visual horror, I'm more like a psychological horror dude. But as far as that goes, that scene where she's going through the water puddles and her eye appears, I thought that was a cool I prefer more of the uneasy because it creates that tension and it doesn't let it go.
Yes.
Where a jump scare, it just kind of boom, it happens, and then you kind of calm down a bit and you're oh, that happened, and you weren't really scared. You're just more surprised.
Yeah.
See, what was kind of terrifying a scene that was actually a little bit terrifying to me was when she was killing the Illuminati, because those were some brutal. Specifically, I think the two that really terrified me the most were Black Bolt's and Professor X death. Both of them had, like, in my opinion, the most brutal, because like his was just he had his fucking neck snapped in the mind world, coming up just behind him, and then Black Bolt's is probably one of the most terrifying thoughts I've ever thought about before. What if I just lost my mouth, followed by then his head exploding because that's Black Bolt's power. And then we have Reed Richards becoming string cheese before his head fucking explodes. Followed by Captain Carter being fucking cut in half with her own shield. Followed by Captain Marvel being fucking crushed to death.
Yeah,
it's very brutal.
There's two particular videos where the Professor X's death, when he dies, she doesn't snap his. Apparently, if you like slow it down, she tears his head in half. Like, it's not like a snap of the neck. She grabs like the lower jaw and like the upper head, I guess, and it just boom rips him up. And then for Black Bolt, have you seen the video where it slows it down to like the frames? It's like you see his eyes pop out, like you see like, you miss it in the movie, but
his eyes pop out. They go
that's
bloodshot.
Brutal.
And then you see the rest of the head cave in, slump over. Also gets a nosebleed.
Yeah.
Right. I remember the nosebleed. I don't remember the eyes popping out. I do remember. So like the first time I saw Multiverse of Madness, I completely missed Mr. Fantastic's head exploding. I just remember him turning to string cheese. But then like the second time I saw that, it was just like, holy fuck! She blew his fucking head up.
Yeah,
that's even worse. That's like worse.
But that scene was really cool. The only thing I don't like about it though is the fact that now Wanda stands will have like they'll go to the floor with it.
Yes, Queen, girl boss. I hate Wanda Stan so much.
She commits interdimensional war crimes. Yes, Queen.
Oh my god, she literally just killed a father. Those children will be fatherless forever. Go, girl.
Yeah.
I can't believe people still defended her after Multiverse of Madness. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, I think, and I've said this before, but the progression of like Wanda stance is what, like, because if you watch her story from Age of Ultron, or even Captain America: The Winter Soldier, if you watch from that to Multiverse, you kind of get where she's coming from. My problem is that Wanda stands, or not didn't appear, but a couple of Wanda stands were introduced to the MCU through WandaVision, so they didn't have that tragic backstory, and they just supported her brutality and like her enslavement of an entire town from the get-go. Straight up, WandaVision is literally a story about her enslaving an entire town because she was sad that her sex bot died, and then these people were being tortured, and she like. And the argument is always, oh, she didn't know what she was doing. No, that's not what they said. First, she didn't know what she was doing, yes, but eventually she knew what she was doing, and she kept doing it. She is a villain. Stop acting like she's some, like, girl boss. She's not. The end of WandaVision still fucking angers me, where the one girl was just like, this town will never know what you sacrificed. She didn't sacrifice jack fucking shit. She enslaved these people to live out her like fucking sitcom fantasy. She is a villain and a terrible person. Stop being a Wanda stand. Yeah, and it's like,
God, that's a lot off my chest.
Yeah, I feel like if they were to lean more into her story, because like so far, like she does, like, I get that some people can just like, I guess, snap or whatever, but like her thing, because she's been a side character for so long, the fact that she suddenly gets like a huge role and like she's like such a drastic change to her character, it's like, it's not bad per se, but it is kind of like, why didn't we explore, if she was going to be a big player, how come she wasn't, like, her character wasn't explored more, and it just kind of
right.
Like,
well, I think the argument can be made that her character got to be explored on Division to that point.
Yeah,
but it's very much following a person has just had grief throughout their life and never really much to find stability with.
Right.
I think that's just Wanda's overall character arc, and
It is, but she's also like no less a villain, and Wanda stands defending her for the terrible, like horrendous thing that she's done is just mind-boggling to me.
Or if you're Black Bolt, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Illuminati, but that scene was really cool.
Dude,
And
I mean,
what do
was
y'all
it-
think of John Krasinski as Reed Richards? I've heard there not controversy, but like I heard there were some thoughts about that.
No, there are mixed things. There are a lot of people that don't like him, but like honestly, I kind of don't get the hate. Like, you know, he's not in the movie for that long. He's pretty accurate in the fact that although Reed is the smartest man alive, he's still a fucking dumbass.
Yes.
You know, I didn't hate him, and I don't get all the hate for him. I remember like when this movie came out and people were talking about it online, the big thing was like the Illuminati is basically just what Marvel testing out to see what people like and what they want to see more of in the future. And I guarantee you they were like definitely backing the horse of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, because the internet's been asking about that for a while, but no one was focused on that. Instead, they were like focused on, they wanted Black Bolt, because the actor who plays Black Bolt played him in the terrible Inhumans TV show. They wanted him to reprise his fucking role as Black Bolt in the MCU. And I guarantee, what a fucking curveball that was. And it's like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever, but like, and at the same time, people were like hating on like John Krasinski and Reed Richards. I was just like, I don't think he did a bad job. I actually kind of liked him. Why am I in the minority again?
Well, no, I very much liked him in the role too. I think he, takes the character very much, I don't want to say comic accurate, but just like how I kind of have thought of Reed Richards. Asked him just like, he's the smartest person alive. He's really, really smart. He's got everything going on up there, except his social skills and social reasoning is a little out there at times. Again, I tell the person that's come to kill all of you, one of your strongest allies can do.
Yeah. That's pretty on brand for Reed, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. But then I think with the matter of the rest of the Illuminati, I think a lot of it is having Mordo be in there just somewhere, because everyone's been asking, what's he doing? What's that whole thing? In a director's note about Marvel being that Mordo might be actually dead in the
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
because there was apparently going to be an opening scene where he gets his head cut off by Wanda.
Yeah,
and that is the start of it. Okay, well, there's a way to get him in there. To bring the Inhumans into the MCU proper, even though it's not 6 yet. No, it is a good way to put it in. Just like how it brought in Daredevil and Kingpin in No Way Home and Hawkeye. And then Xavier, just referring back to all the X-Men, as well as subtling hitting to the X-Men 97 project that's going to be coming out soon.
Right.
Yeah, so being oh, well, here's this idea. And just, I think, new version of Captain Marvel and Captain Carter, and also bringing in What If, and where that is coming from the animated standpoint. Then just...
Right, I mean, yeah. What is it? They did announce. Well, there's the Marvels that's happening, which is just basically Captain Marvel 2. So we'll probably see a variant of that version of Captain Marvel there. Captain Carter, they confirmed that they are bringing back for a live-action project. And then they weren't in the movie, but both Daredevil and Kingpin have both been confirmed to be in the Echo show. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Echo is a character from the Daredevil comics.
Yeah. Yeah. No, apparently Matt's plot in Echo is going to be he's looking for Jessica Jones, so they're basically just saying at this point the Netflix shows are canon, so.
Yeah. Well, didn't they, bring it? They brought those Netflix shows,
they brought them to Disney. They did, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, make them canon, make them something that's real. Maybe, I don't know, they might work with a strange reality that, like, not all of the stories from those episodes are in 616, but get the general gist of 616 people.
No, I just if does wind up being the Netflix shows were always canon, I get to gloat in so many people's faces because for years people was like, "Nah, Dom, you're fucking crazy. It doesn't take place in the MCU stuff. They're separate." It's like, no, they said they do. It's the same studio. They have made references to this stuff. Like the whole plot of Daredevil is based around the fact of New York building back after the first Avengers movie. So fuck you. Yes, it is, and I am right, and I am turning out to be right as it would appear at the moment. So I'm gonna ride that high horse.
Exactly.
My only concern with them being canon is the fact that it has nothing to do with the shows themselves. It's the fact that Disney's getting their grimy hands on them. Because I'm not sure if it's real, but I did see some posts going floating around where it was like, oh, we wouldn't mind taking a lighthearted take on Daredevil. And having watched the first season, I was like, I haven't watched the full series, but I watched the first season. I was like, wow, this is different. This is cool. I like this. I like, and I don't want to say the whole, like, oh, this is so gritty and whatnot. Like, but I like exploring different areas of, superhero stuff, MCU, whatnot, where you have like we said before, where it was clearly defined by directors and styles, where like Iron Man's like the tech, Thor is Shakespearean, Daredevil is like the rugged what's it called,
the street hero.
It's the underbelly.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I love Daredevil. I for years always wanted a season 4, but I always wanted Netflix to be in charge. Like, as much as Netflix normally screws up their stuff, they did an amazing job with Daredevil. But now that Disney fully has it, and it's probably going to be in the MCU belt, and they do make another season of Daredevil, it's going to be such a tone shift. It's not going to be the same show, and they're going to ruin, because it's going to be like the Disney Plus Marvel shows. And I have my just whole slew of problems with those. Mainly the fact that they're only 6 episodes long, and they don't know how to use those 6 episodes because it's all set up, and then in the last episode, they've basically resolved nothing, so now they're like rushing to try to pay off, and they always fail. I think Moon Knight has so far been the only one to do it correctly. Loki too, but Loki has a second season coming, so I can forgive the fact that not all questions were answered, because they'll hopefully answer it in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing. Oh, what were you saying?
No, go ahead.
That's the weird thing about having, I'm assuming that the writers go in kind of knowing there's only going to be a limited time, 6 episodes, and the fact that some series still have that filler stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And to be the WandaVision, the 2 first episodes, they were good, and I liked them. The thing is, in a series that short, I feel like they could have condensed those 2 episodes, and it's this is one of those things where most TV shows you can release them whenever the hell they want, but this they had to release it in that time frame between what's it called, Endgame and
movies.
Yeah, they have to release it, so they don't really have a choice,
Mm-hmm. No, it's they don't. You have no time to spare, so don't waste time on filler, and that's a problem with so many of these Disney Plus shows is they waste too much time on filler. That's probably why Moon Knight's the one so far, because it connects to nothing.
Yeah, it is a completely isolated story for the most part. It does have implications, I think, for going forward, especially how tomorrow, at the time of recording, getting Thor, Love and Thunder coming out, which is introducing
Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, Gore the God Butcher, but also all of the Greek gods. Because
a whole bunch of pantheons, yeah.
Yeah, it's really setting up. It's it's much more than just the Norse mythology we're dealing with. Because they're, very much in the comics, those other mythologies are
very
prevalent.
much. Yeah.
I feel like the only
can't wait to finally see Hercules
in Moon Knight was
exactly.
The Black Panther god. What was her name? It was I think that's the
the-
only reference, and it's one of those like blink and you'll miss it if you don't recognize
Yeah,
the name.
Yeah, because when they
ancestral plane.
the ancestral plane, because like when they died, I don't know why I'm blanking on her name, the hippo Egyptian god, who's an actual god. Yeah. She mentioned that like there are multiple like planes of death. You guys just winded up on the ancient Egyptian one. I really like that actually.
Yeah, I mean,
You could have winded up on the Black Panther one, but now you're here in Egypt, so.
I was like, yeah, it goes. I guess it also opens up to like the reality of, oh, what are the other we could possibly look at?
Man, I can't
Anyways,
believe
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, Zombie Strange, definitely the best part of the movie.
This was when my mom started going crazy.
What did Zombie Strange? Please tell us your mom's thoughts on Zombie Strange. We said.
So at some point, I started getting tired of like her little comment, and I love my mom. She can do whatever she wants. But at some point, I'm the type of movie person who likes to just watch the movie. I don't like it. I don't like, I guess, commentary during the movie, and I do it during the movie, but it's usually when it's something that like, okay, so I commentate more often than not as a response to questions that are asked to me, because it's always what's happening, what's gonna happen. It's like the movie will answer it. But anyway, that's not the point. I kind of left around that time, but afterwards she was like, I didn't like Doctor Strange. I was like, I had a feeling you wouldn't, and I tried to like tell her to like not watch it because I knew she wouldn't like it. But yeah, Zombie Doctor Strange, that was cool. When I saw the trailer, I thought it was I was confused because I thought they were gonna do like the zombies from What If.
Same.
I thought it was the same as well. I didn't think it would be like the Strange from the beginning of the movie being like controlled by normal Strange, literally rising from the dead, Evil Dead style, then summoning like a cape of like fucking necromancer spirits to fight Wanda.
Yeah, and what was that one line too where
very
it's like,
badass.
Like this time, what was the line where he was like, you can't kill me if you want to kill, I forgot what he said, but I was like, that's cool, like that's campy, but like that's
Like,
so in line with
it's gonna take more than
and it's like it's
with Doctor Strange. Yeah,
it's campy, but like it's so in what's the word, it's so on brand for what this movie
in character
was.
for Doctor Strange.
Yes, but and also on character for Doctor Strange. It's learned from Peter.
Also, I think this movie had my favorite suit-up scene in like any of the MCU movies, where he literally just like, he's just like at the wedding, he sees shit happening, so he literally just jumps off the fucking balcony and just magics his costume. Just such an amazing like suit-up scene. Like it's short and simple, but it's like absolutely perfect for the character.
I was gonna say
I want more of that.
During that scene, my dad chimed in. He was like, look at all the destruction they're causing, and I was like, before I kind of used to defend that position where it's like, yeah, they're causing a lot of destruction, but they're saving the city. But then I said, this is a really off tangent, but that's the one thing I wish we could see more in superhero media, is them saving people and not just fighting bad guys, which was why I really liked that one montage in Homecoming where Spider-Man is literally just interacting with the people,
like actually saving people.
But someone made a point in
Spider-Man.
Someone made a point. I was watching The Incredibles fight where they're fighting the Omni Droid, and I was looking through the comments, and one of the comments was, "This is how you write a superhero fight. If you notice, most of the damage is being caused by the robot and not the heroes." And I was like, that's a really good point, because this one, it's like, yeah, they stopped the monster, but Strange like just ripped up a light pole and just threw it at the monster's eye.
Like, threw it in his eye. The city's gonna take forever to fix that one.
It's like, we did it.
It is very much.
City.
We did it.
We did. It's very much that like balancing, saying choreography. Okay, how much is it going to be monster? What is the threat level of that? And also, what is the utility of of the heroes at work. I mean, I think it very much depends. Yes, Strange can do a lot of things with his magic. He's also smart enough to be like, oh, there's this thing, I don't need to summon a skewer, I can just have this thing launch at high velocity. Whereas you have other characters throughout the MCU of like, oh, Iron Man just has the suit, he can do all of that stuff from the suit, doesn't need to rely on the environment. And that causes less destruction, typically, you would hope.
Yeah.
Where you have, like, on the very other side of it, Hulk just being...
Hulk smash, basically.
Smash. Exactly. Just
his whole thing is smash, throw car at monster.
Exactly.
I love
Cut
those
to
memes. What were you saying?
I was just saying, cut to the scene of him smashing the Goliath
Leviathan?
monster. I don't know what it is. From Avengers into the building. It's like,
oh, the fucking space web.
yes, exactly.
I love the meme where it's just like me after getting after what was it? It was like
Talking about
me,
this living in a superhero city meme.
yeah, it's like me after like just getting off of my 9-to-5 job just for Superman to like grab my car, which I almost got done paying off to throw at the villain, but it doesn't do anything. Oh man.
When the rent in Gotham is only $5 a month, but that fucking dumbass clown keeps you up every night.
Truly.
It just tangentially reminds me of all the fight scenes in Invisible, the Amazon show.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like how fucking brutal all of that stuff is.
Right.
And then
they show you the corpses to let you know.
exactly.
This is what actually happened. Yeah. What was it? Misha, what was that show Brandon was telling me about? It was like Recreators, and he was like describing a scene to us. Where like, so basically the plot of Recreators is just like anime and video games character coming to the real world, and one of them was like a Sailor Moon type character. You know, like they have like laser blast that like only like hurts the monsters, does like no damage. They fired that and they killed like millions of people and collapsed the building. And that's the joke, is that like, you know, if this thing was actually fucking real, millions would fucking die. So we gotta stop doing that shit. We did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
And I like that kind of twist on superhero stuff that we see in like Invincible and The Boys, where it's just like, well, if it like, you know, it sounds fun, but if it were actually real, it'd probably be more like this. And it's like kind of like that whole like, maybe we shouldn't make a super soldier serum.
Yeah, probably not.
But it's it's interesting to see how like the superhero genre has kind of, I guess, evolved or whatnot, to where even like games coming out, like the whole Kill the Justice League game. I'm not sure if it came out, but it's coming out. But
yeah.
But the idea of turning the superhero genre, or not the genre, turning superheroes into horror when they're the villains, you know.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think I fucking had it with Evil Superman, if I'm being honest with you. It's been overdone at this point. Choose another superhero, please. I beg you.
It's really funny how both Invincible and The Boys, they just had knockoff Justice League.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Michelle, you'd probably like the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie, because there's like just a straight up montage where like Superman is just helping people, including saving a cat from a tree, and like none of the damage in that movie is caused by him. It's all caused by Lex Luthor. So this is like your ideal superhero movie.
Yeah, that's why I really do. Okay, so yes, Zack Snyder's Superman is what a realistic fight would be like, but that's not what Superman's supposed to be. And I hate it when Zack Snyder fans are like, oh, he brought something new to the character. Yeah, Mitchell, but he brought something new to the character, and I was like, my brother in Christ, Superman is not, that's not how he would have handled the fight. There's like,
Superman is a ray of hope, not like a ray of depression.
Yeah, and for the most part,
there's like a difference between like, oh hey, Superman's here, versus oh god, Superman's here.
Exactly. And it's like the difference between what was I gonna say? because like this Superman didn't really seem to care about like collateral damage, and like when we most in I'm in like I haven't read much of the comics, but I feel like in the comics when they bring up Superman being a threat, it's more along the lines of he could turn, not he has already destroyed an entire city.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Batman's whole MO about having all of the plans for the Justice League. It's that, okay, these are the good people, these are the people that are doing things better. I have all of these plans in case they decide, you know, I don't really care about being good anymore.
And they always treat Batman like he is a fool in that situation, but honestly, he's like the smartest fucking person.
Yeah, because he's a normal dude. He's got nothing.
He's right. He's 100% justified in having a contingency plan. Because just straight up alone, they could just be like, how many times has the Justice League ever fought an evil version of themselves from an alternate dimension or been mind controlled? Like, that alone is justification enough. But yeah, I can't wait to see that in the next Multiverse of Madness movie.
Yes.
A contingency plan for all the Avengers. Well,
so I have magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Multiverse of Madness. This was such a good Multiverse of Madness time.
It really is.
It really is. I don't, like, what can you really say about Multiverse of Madness that has been said besides it's good, it's gory, it has great visual effects, music, fight scenes great. I feel like we've truly said everything. All we can talk about is stuff it did into the industry, you know, or stuff related to the industry.
Yeah.
Yes. And I will say it is nice to see any Elfman's compositional role.
Yeah.
But he already done.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes the whole thing masterful, and that was something that really surprised me. The whole music, fight scene, and the choreography of it, was just like, wow, that is a very just innovative way to do a fight scene that doesn't rely on, I guess, a lot of like understanding of like, oh, this is how all this is going to be. You don't have to understand, oh, these are different spells that are being thrown at each other, all these big moves. It's just literally
music.
Somewhat evenly matched.
Yeah.
Using
yeah, I think that really leans into the Doctor Strange of the movie, and that was a really cool scene, because it's like, yeah, Doctor Strange would probably have a spell for this kind of thing.
He has a spell for everything. He's fucking magic. I've always said magic is like the most OP power you can have in like a superhero universe. Because you literally can do anything. Because it's magic. You are the limitation. You don't have to explain. You don't gotta explain everything when you have like literally. You want to like not explain anything. Just say it's magic. That's all the explanation you need.
Yeah. Well, it's very much like relating it to another superhero, like a Green Lantern situation, where like, my favorite Green Lantern books that have been written are the ones where it's just, hey, yes, it's like your power of your will and whatever you want. It also just relies on your imagination and what you can think of in the situation have happen. That's magic.
That's like my favorite type of superpower, where it's like you're only limited by your imagination, because then you can come up with like, you know, cool fights or cool, like, I guess, choreography and whatnot. Because I don't mind I always love me a strong, durable person hero, but sometimes I want more than just like throwing punches and like laser beams, you know?
Right.
Which I still love, but it's still, you know.
I agree. I get that. We could talk. What else can we talk? We talk about the post-credit scene. What do you think like is going on with Strange and Clea? Where do you think that's going?
Okay, so they're obviously going into the Dark Dimension, as Clea states.
Yeah.
And I am just so curious to see where that's going, because it could honestly go a number of ways. It could be, I think, reintroducing Dormammu as the bigger threat that he is,
right,
to the MCU proper. But also, it's like perhaps Kang could be doing something in there. Just like Kang is really this, like, you've seen him a few times reference of just is going to be everywhere at some point.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just
he eventually is. I feel like the best way to do Kang is literally just meet multiple variants of him. Because he's going to be the villain of the next Ant-Man movie.
at Quantumania.
Yeah, and there's also Fantastic Four is going to be the last movie of Phase 4, and I feel like King is a Fantastic Four villain, but another villain of Fantastic Four is a King variant, and I feel like they should introduce that variant as well.
Yes.
To again set up the whole King thing. But I never thought about Kang. I always thought like, okay, Dormammu's just like coming back, he's more powerful. That or like the dark dimension is like colliding with another dimension and Strange has to stop. Something like that.
Some sort of incursion situation.
Yeah.
That's the other thing,
I never even thought of Kang.
because there's like, especially since they opened up the multiverse, there's like a whole number of things they can do, and it's not even just like the dark dimension and whatnot, because in this movie they brought up incursions, which could be like a Secret Wars thing. You guys brought up Kang, Dormammu, like these are like big level events that like, you know, that would shake the MCU to its core.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to do, knowing the MCU, they're probably going to do nothing with it.
Probably not. But I mean, we also have gotten a glimpse of the Living Tribunal at this point.
yeah.
That's true. They did show that in the movie.
It's just like, it's there. What's he doing? I see statues, but why are there so many statues?
Yeah, and then they brought him up in Loki too, where you just kind of see like the statue head in the field thing, and it's like
just watching over
the same field with the fucking Thanos copter.
Yeah. I'm so glad to know that Thanos copter is a thing, or like at least in one universe, Thanos had.
In one universe, they did happen, but then they wiped it out. It gives me pleasure to know in one of the fights where they went up against Thanos, he had the fucking helicopter.
Yes.
Where do you think he got his cool double-bladed sword from? That was the rotor.
No, that's a real thing they said. You joke, but they actually said that. They were like, where did Thanos get his sword from? It's like, it was the blades of the Thanos copter. It's like, okay, I guess. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have much experience with, I guess, Doctor Strange and Dormammu as far as comics go. Although I will, because as far as comics go, it's more like I hear things and I kind of look them up. But as far as like reading comics, I haven't read that many. The only things I have read were most of the Ultimate comics, and I remember reading the Ultimatum storyline where, you know, Magneto makes the whole does shit.
Oh yeah,
and the ocean comes in and wipes out New York basically, but it also wipes out the New York Sanctorum, and Dormammu escapes, and like just it wasn't scary, but it was kind of like creepy to think about, because he escapes, right, and Doctor Strange kind of like is trying to stop him, but Dormammu straight up uses Doctor Strange's like scarf, like clothing stuff, and like basically squeezes him until his like head pops.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know why that reminded me of this, but like, so because Sam Raimi wasn't the first director of the movie, and I'm just remembering like a lot of the old stuff that was said that didn't happen. So now I'm wondering what the alternative Multiverse of Madness could have been, because the original director was the director for the first Doctor Strange movie.
Yes.
And I remember hearing like when they first announced it that I believe Nightmare was going to be the villain. That they were going to introduce him that one. You know, Nightmare's not even fucking mentioned in this movie, so
he is.
I remember the director left because he was having fights with Marvel. That's why he left the project. So now that just tells me that he wanted to do a Multiverse of Madness movie where the villain was Nightmare, but Marvel was like, no. See, we're doing WandaVision, so Wanda has to be the villain of this movie to connect it to WandaVision, so people will watch and buy more of our shit. And they're just like, I don't want to fucking do that. I want to do Nightmare. And you know, Kevin Feige was like, you can't do that. And then that's probably how it happened. Exactly like that too. There's no confirmation. I'm just assuming, because that sounds like the best thing. I'm very upset that Nightmare didn't come in, because Nightmare is a terrifying villain, and they could have done so much with the horror aspect with Nightmare as the villain.
I originally thought that, so from the obviously zombie Doctor Strange was, you know, possessed. It was the eighth or some different Universe Strange possessed by the.
Yeah, he was Defender Strange.
Yeah.
Defender Strange. Yeah.
I originally thought that was gonna be not because I didn't like read about any of like the behind the scenes stuff. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, that looks like Zombie Doctor Strange. So when it was kind of like confirmed that it wasn't, or like I was thinking of like possible candidates of who that would be. I thought it was gonna be Nightmare for a second. I was like, what if that's what they were going? And then it wasn't. And I was like, you guys said, like it would have been a really cool way to like do that, for this movie.
Right.
And who knows if they'll even ever introduce Nightmare in the MCU.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're because if we're being real here, like it's I don't know how this will go over, but this didn't really feel like a Doctor Strange. It felt more like Multiverse of Madness : Doctor Strange, not Doctor Strange. Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
Because if you think, it's like his whole story arc in this movie was his love life. And that's where it seems like they're going.
No bitches in every universe. He just like me for real.
Yeah, but the fact that because if you think about it, too, this really isn't a sequel to the first Doctor Strange either, because it's not.
It's more of a sequel to
WandaVision.
WandaVision. But I was also gonna say to where Doctor Strange was at the end of No Way Home. As well, so it's a sequel. It's more of a sequel to those two things than it is to Doctor Strange itself.
Yeah,
it's not a. It's hard to argue that because it's like it is a continuation of Doctor Strange and his. He has, gone through the whole trials of throwing away his life essentially to hope in other people, and then coming back to the reality of just. Sorcerer and going through all the stuff where life kind of had to leave off in the first Doctor Strange. Then it's like, yeah, you're right. It's like, oh, this is just his relationship. They're like, oh, we have to make Doctor Strange have an arc in this. What if it's his relationship? And then we're gonna do all this other fun stuff that we want to explore. It also is like that ultimatum of, okay, who else would explore the multi?
Yeah.
Right.
Other established character would explore the multi.
Yeah. What's it called? The fact that Christine was in the movie at all, I was kind of like, it felt good. Like it felt like it was an obligation to like kind of tie up that storyline from the first.
Loose end. Yeah.
And the fact that he was like, "I love you in every universe," just to get found by Cleo like 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like, I love you in every universe, even though, he doesn't get with her in any fucking universe. And then immediately Cleo just shows up and is like, "Oh well, I guess I'm not bitchless anymore. Let's go deal with Dormammu, I guess."
Yeah, and I was like, okay, it was such like a drastic like switch. It's like, I know it was like the end credit scene. But it was such a whoop, she's here now, you don't gotta worry about Christine.
Yeah. I just thought about this. Again, obviously Thor hasn't come out at time of recording. It seems so far, the last few Marvel movies, know this character who is, really cool? No bitches. Spider-Man, no bitches, not anymore.
Bitches. No.
Doctor Strange? No.
Bitches. I feel like Marvel's trying to tell us something.
There's an underlying
Phase 4, here. Move out of the house.
But like, truly, that's what it is. Because most of the you're right. The WandaVision, no
bitch,
no bitch,
no bitches, no bitches.
Moon Knight, does he get with Layla at the end? Does he? I don't remember.
No.
Ambiguous.
Wait, did he? I don't remember.
He flashes to white as Steven and Mark are released from Anshu, and then he wakes up in the bed. And the last we see of Layla is in Egypt.
I think it's safe to say no bitches for Moon Knight either.
No bitches for Steven.
Even if he does
bitches for Jake. No.
Loki, there's like so many things wrong with him, like fucking his variant. Like
Dude, Loki's bitches himself. Does that truly count?
Like
No.
it's, I feel like it's
No,
in
because-
character for Loki to be a narcissist, but like not in this way.
Yeah.
But also,
I
I
don't know.
think this is the best way to have done Lady Loki, Sylvie, but also in that same instance, Sylvie basically sends Loki back. It's just like gone now.
I don't know. Because, they're the same person and the same blood. That's in a way incest. I don't know. It's so fucking weird. The concept that Loki is fucking himself. I don't... Like, I understand, like, Loki in Norse mythology has done a lot worse, but, like, I don't think he ever did himself. I know he fucked a horse in Norse mythology, and it's a lot worse, but still, it doesn't make this right,
Yeah, and for like MCU Loki, especially where it's just more like it also felt weird for them to give him a love interest because I never felt like Loki needed one.
And I think Loki was fine on his own. Loki never needed bitches.
Yeah, so it was kind of odd for them to have like that whole episode dedicated to love is like a dagger, and it's like, okay, like good for you, I guess.
Cool. Neat. Interesting.
I also do think it is a very good metaphor. Like, even if it's just like a place for the show, but like get that message out there in that way, I think is a very
right.
Anyways, who else don't have bitches?
What other Marvel? Hawkeye, I guess he
I-
does, but like he has to go
He
away
does,
for
he
a
has a
while,
wife.
so that
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That was also pre-established. Like,
Pre-established bitch, Let's see.
What other Marvel or what other Phase 4 stuff?
oh, Black Widow.
She's just dead.
Just,
She's just dead.
I'm still mad about the release of Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Like
Oh
they were
my God.
hyping up Black Widow just for it to be like a mediocre film that should have been released before Civil War or after Civil War.
Yeah, this is a movie that belonged in 2016, but no. Oh fuck! I remember though with like with Black Widow, in the end credits, it has a fucking character in it that you first met in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But Black Widow was supposed to come out before Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so this would have been her introduction before Falcon and Winter Soldier. So when Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, and this character just showed up, everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, "Oh, you should have seen Black Widow." It's like, well, Black Widow didn't fucking come out. COVID happened. But I feel like no matter what, people still would have been confused as to who the fuck this person is. It's some random lady. There's something
Martina.
interesting. Yeah, it's fucking Elaine from Seinfeld. Fucking no. Everybody would have been confused no matter which one came out first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like still, Phase 4 is about not because what Shang-Chi, like he didn't have bitches at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, he had his friend, but they weren't dating, so he's still bitchless. What was it? Eternals.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh.
Oh, hold on. Eternals. Yeah, that one also ended with Black Knight winding up bitchless.
Yes.
I don't know. You guys saw Eternals, right?
Yes. I actually thought it was a good movie.
Yeah. Both Black Knight and Icarus were bitchless in the end.
Incredible.
Chris,
Hmm.
too close.
Falcon and the Winter
What?
Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Bitchless. No bitches for them.
I feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier was the most egregious when it came to like the message they were trying to convey.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The end speech was so bad.
It was so forced, and like they're acting like, yeah, that's all we need is like fucking a Captain America to show up and give a speech. That's not how that works. All these policies are not gonna change because Sam Wilson in a new coat of paint showed up and said, "Why are you doing this? Stop doing that."
No, but
the
funny thing was
what
like,
really outrageous is that like the person he's like defending is a fucking terrorist that murdered millions, or not millions, but like a lot of people, at least a few thousand people. A lot of people died because of her.
And
like, I don't know.
That in the speech, she was like, "Don't call her a terrorist. That's not what she was." I was like, well.
She was a terrorist. She was 100% a terrorist. Also, I don't get the hate for John Walker. He killed, like one of the terrorists. I'm sorry, but that dude was a terrorist involved in the killing of God knows how many people with God knows how many family. Yeah, including his best friend. The death of his own best friend by this terrorist group. I don't understand the hate for John Walker, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, the hate for John Walker was undeserved, and like the hate for the actor was like extreme. Like, you know, it was not undeserved. You know, yeah, but like the whole thing, the whole point of John Walker is that he's not Captain America, and I think they did that kind of well. You know, because I feel like Captain America, like, because even though he knew, like, cause like I feel like the parallels were supposed to be drawn between Captain America and Bucky, and then despite what Bucky did and like what he went through, he didn't like kill anyone over it, and he kind of held back from that. Like, he cared about Bucky, whereas John Walker cared more about like revenge, like kind of like, you know, understandably so. You know, it was his best friend. You know, he got murked in front of him.
Best friend that he like served in like multiple tours of combat with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like the important thing is that like that Captain America wouldn't have done that, and I really like the visual of John Walker standing with like the blood on the shield. That was a
blood on the shield. That was such a cool fucking visual. Yes. But other than that, Falcon and Winter Soldier is still, like, in my own personal opinion, one of the worst of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. It's definitely on the lower end of the list for me.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's just like me more so of like the other shows have done in their exploration of stuff has been. Night is top tier. What If is just awesome because it's animated and they get to do so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was just a rough start to the Disney Plus shows. And I really hate how they nerfed the Winter Soldier. I felt like they nerfed him so hard. I know he doesn't kill anymore, but like he should be able to kick some people's ass. Like, I don't know, he just felt really weak.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like Bucky Barnes anymore. It felt like Sebastian Stan.
No, listen, the Disney Plus Marvel shows really did get off to a bad start because you had WandaVision, which started off strong, but then like by the end was really bad. Followed immediately by Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was also really fucking bad, so that you're like not having a good track record. Then I think Loki came next. Loki was actually good. And then I think What If came after Loki.
Yes.
And yeah, What If is an animated show. They could do whatever the hell they want. It's anthology.
Also the return of Kala.
Yeah. And then it was Hawkeye, which Hawkeye, it could have been better, but I am a little biased towards the character, so I give it some forgiveness. I
feel like Hawkeye it wasn't the greatest, but it was the least, I guess, offensive of all of them.
Yeah, it's not the higher end, but it's definitely not the lower end either.
Yeah, it was more like if they had done this, it would have been better. But I'm fine with what we got, you know. It's about time Hawkeye got his own series or own like something.
Hawkeye got something. I think part of it was because originally it actually was supposed to be a movie, but Jeremy Renner was just like, "Can we do a TV show instead?" And they said yes, so they just rolled with it.
And yeah, I do like the format of the Marvel TV show or the Disney Plus series, just because it does feel like a longer form movie, and they theoretically get the chance to explore more things and go into
theoretically being the key word there.
Yeah. Theoretically. As we've mentioned earlier, Knight has done it the best, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm. You can't have filler in a 6-episode show where time is limited. You have to use every second to your advantage in that situation.
Yeah,
and that's where they fail.
And that's the thing too, where it's like if you Moon Knight was about how many minutes per episode?
It was about like 50 per episode. That's not most.
It's less than an hour. So like altogether, it's at least like 5 or 4 hours, which is about like twice as long as your typical Marvel movie. But somehow a Marvel movie has more substance for the character, or some Marvel movies. A good Marvel movie has more substance for a character than, you know, some of the Disney 6-episode, you know, TV Disney Plus series had for, you know, their character. And it's like you have more to work with, yet it's still like dragging on. Like how? And I feel like it's for the most part, they were supposed to be movies. They were the plot of a movie stretched out between 6 episodes, and so they had to like kind of drag where they could.
Hold on, real fast. My phone is listening to me because I went to Disney Plus to check like the Moon Knight minute lengths just to make sure I was right. And I'm not even at the Moon Knight tab. I just go under like all the Thor collection stuff they have for the new movie, and it's just Moon Knight episodes. That's listening to us. That's kind of scary. That actually, fuck. Okay. Anyways, yeah. No, I agree with like all the shit you said. Yeah. No, here's the thing. I still have somewhat of a soft spot for the MCU after like all the time I like put into it back in like high school, and the fact that I'm still like doing timeline shit with it. So when I do rewatch all of it in chronological order, I know what goes where. But at the same time, it's just, you know, they're not. It has so many fucking problems with it, and I feel like Multiverse of Madness doesn't really have like a lot of those problems because it uses its time to its advantage. And like I said before, it's like the first visually distinct like MCU movie since like Phase 1. So like you can tell Sam Raimi made this movie, even though there's still like a lot of evidence of like studio tampering with it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's like when you see like a pretty slow or bad scene, you're not really thinking, oh, it wasn't Sam. You're not really thinking, oh, Sam Raimi. You're thinking more, it was a Marvel executive that probably said something. Because it's because you're right. Like at some point after like Phase 1, it just kind of started like leveling out. Because I feel like at that point they were like, how do we appease to the most people as possible? Because
safe route.
Yeah, like that's the safe route. But to be honest, I prefer, even if it's not to my taste, I prefer it when movies are specialized on like more niche, I guess. Because like you brought it up before, but like, all the complaints about Multiverse of Madness, like they weren't. Some of them were just kind of like some of them were get a fucking life. There are more things out there than MCU movies, but some of them were in a way valid as far as like maybe this movie style isn't your type, and that's completely fine,
Yeah.
And so it's like I hope they do more stylized stuff, because I love it when a movie like is stylized and it's stylized in a way that I'm like, it felt like, not that it was made for me, but it felt like damn, I can get into like this is something where it grabs my attention more, and I feel like that's worth more than having a movie that reaches out to as many people as possible.
Well, and I think it's that matter of like reaching out, but also the oversaturation of superheroes in general media. Like,
yeah.
There's a cookie cutter standard. There's a reason that we can easily identify the Superman character in a situation, or like Justice League or Avengers type characters very quickly, just because it's like, oh, we have become accustomed to this now. We've had 22 at least Marvel movies, X amount of DC movies, and all of the TV shows. Even if you look at modern Disney Channel now, they just released 2 superhero shows, and they have 2 others on the backlot coming in. It's just like, wow, we are engrossed in honestly what is our modern mythology of superheroes. And so when we take that genre of superheroes and something that is, honest times, I think deemed just, oh, the Marvel movies are safe for kids, and this is in super big quotes, and you put it into such an uncomfortable state of what, like, oh, the horror genre being so new to the MCU, being like, oh yeah, we're gonna totally show, the gruesomeness of Black Bolt, the Wanda, very just like Blair Witch horror, I shouldn't say Blair Witch, but Paranormal Activity style of like the Ring coming out of the mirror, and that like deformation of the human form that cricks back together. Like all of that is just like, wow, they really went for something that is new within this thought bubble of superheroes in a mainstream thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like
Yeah.
even the other superhero stuff, like we mentioned before, Invincible, The Boys, it's starting to dive into those aspects of what could be explored. And to be honest, I'm in the same boat with them, where I love the MCU, but I also know when to be critical of it. And I love the superhero genre, but I think it's starting to get like that, where maybe we're making too many superhero stuff, because before
it's oversaturation.
Before it used to be like a couple of movies, or a movie or two every, like, I don't know, couple of years. But now it's like it's being bombarded, because I remember when they first announced the Disney Plus shows, and I was like, damn, I can't wait for them to come out. And now all of them have come out, and I'm getting tired of it. It's like, I'm
getting tired of it. Yeah, that's all the same feeling. I saw all those shows like, Hawkeye's finally getting a show. Man, all these sound so good. And then like they all came out, and I was just like, wow.
I remember when Moon Knight felt like so far away, and then it was good, but it came out, but I felt like I wasn't like immersed fully, because in the back of my mind I was like, this is an MCU project. This is a superhero thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it just at this point is an oversaturation market, because if you want to start at the X-Men films being the beginning of this superhero, like in pop culture, like modern superheroes in pop culture, then that means they've been making superhero media for about 22 years now. If you want to start it at Blade, it's been even longer than that.
Yeah,
exactly. And I guess you could even go, like, you mentioned the Christopher Reeve stuff earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And put it really far back, but very much the mainstream of it. These last 20 years or so of just, it was mentioned, just get one a year maybe. How we have, has it been so far this year? Moon Knight.
It's been a lot.
So there's like
Moon Knight, Miss Marvel,
and
Marvel, Multiverse of Madness, and then
Thor.
we're getting Thor, and then we're also getting
Black Panther 2, and that's just Marvel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, we also had the Batman that came out this year.
Oh sure.
And that's just Marvel and DC as well. You got The Boys. Season 3 came out this year as well. I mean, this list just goes on, really.
Yeah. I feel like they should stop making superhero stuff for a while, just to like give it.
I say about a decade. I think we need like a full decade of just no new superhero media.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, yes, it is a money-making gold mine. Because as some folks have said, it's the golden shackles of acting. Unless you're in a job for so many years, but you have to this term.
Yeah.
If just a reduced release schedule, because that was like something I remember from very, very young, is just seeing a newspaper clipping like Marvel talking about their future plans up to what is early 2020, early 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, we've gone through all of that.
Right. Yeah.
It's here.
I get fucking No Way Home. If No Way Home like kind of fucking tricked me into believing that my fatigue of this genre had finally been killed. But that was just because of all the fucking nostalgia. Because I grew up with all three of those Spider-Men, and here they all are on screen together, and it was more that than the fact that my fatigue of it was over. Because then, the next stuff comes out, and then I just realize again, the fatigue's still there. It hasn't ended. Whoop-de-dee-doo. And then, yeah. I don't know. It's just an oversaturated. Marvel movies used to release maybe 2 a year, and I feel like that's a lot more bearable than 5 shows, 3 movies a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's definitely too much at that point.
Because we're also getting She-Hulk this year, aren't we?
Yeah, we're getting She-Hulk, we're getting the I Am Groot show, we're getting the Guardians holiday special. We're getting a lot.
I hope the Guardians holiday special is as campy and cheesy as the Star Wars holiday special.
God, I hope so too. I hope they call the holiday Life Day.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of these things are. And it's crazy to think how, like, I don't know, what, 1 or 2 years ago when they were barely announced, and I was like, that's a lot of shows, and now like half of them have already come out.
Right.
And it's like, damn, I thought there was going to be more spaced out, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then they, like, a good majority of them ended up being, like, kind of disappointing.
Yeah. And
I guess what happens when you get an idea of just MCU, everything has to fit together, and then
it all connects.
Yeah.
it all connects. I personally love that as like a writer and a creator myself. Like, with the dots connecting, it's like, oh, this is becoming cumbersome for the people that want to have a vision for what they want to make.
Yeah, and it's
I love that too. I love the whole idea that literally every single detail in one way or another comes back, you know? Like, I love that for stories where just, like, it all, like, meant something. It's like, but at the same time, you gotta, like, fucking tone down how much stuff there is to watch, you know?
Yeah, and I feel
you can't, like, oversaturate it.
I feel like it's a result of a mistranslation of the source material. Because, like, when you would read a comic, it was maybe, like, a couple pages, like, a couple issues. You could get through it, like, maybe, like, in a full day. But with the MCU, you have to set aside, like, 2 hours, like, you know, a good chunk of time to, like, catch up. And, like, if you're a new, like, watcher or something like that, this is one of those movie, like, and because this kind of dives into, like, I guess, film culture, too, where this is one of those things where you had to have grown up with, you had to have, like, watched it evolve for you to understand it. Like, imagine,
like, truly get it. Yeah,
imagine, like, you know, we have, like, kids in the future or something, and we try to introduce them to the MCU. Like, that's gonna be, like, a cumbersome thing, because by then, like, a billion things will have been released. And
it's like
the last time I did the MCU timeline, my chronological timeline watch through that I mentioned earlier, so I remember I specifically timed it that I would start the day before I went to see Captain Marvel, because I knew Captain Marvel was taking place in the 90s. That happened after, like, Agent Carter and stuff. It then preceded me to, like, I finished the day before I went and saw Endgame in theaters. That's how fucking long it took me to get through everything at that time. And since then, they have added not just all, like, this new original stuff, but also with the inclusion of, like, No Way Home, they've now included 3 different Spider-Man franchises that I have to watch as well to get the full
Venom
picture.
series.
Yeah, that's the third one. It's the Venom series. I was counting that as a Spider one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the 2 Spider-Man in the, like, the Sonyverse or whatever the fuck they're calling it. Like, and so, but here's the thing though, is that, like, I just kind of went into, you know, like, no, like, everybody knew they were going to show up in No Way Home. And so I kind of just went into those with already, like, nostalgic knowledge of that. We try to show that shit to our children, it's not going to have the same effect unless we, like, show them all those Spider-Man movies with them. But even then, it's not going to be the same effect as, like, I remember him from fucking Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 2 when I was a young boy. Oh yeah, I was in middle school when Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man, and now he's back. It's not the same effect, you know?
yeah, I was about to say, like, hopefully this, I guess, is new, because I know there's, like, a couple of, like, I guess, a new generation, whatever. I don't know how generations work, but hopefully this next generation or whatever discourages studios from, like, reaching back to old franchises, because we're reaching that point where some of these projects are not going to be nostalgic anymore for the audience, because, like, the audience is starting to, because I know a lot of studios do this, and especially, like, you know, stuff like Disney, where they like reach back into the nostalgia of people who would be parents today, right?
Yeah.
But I hopefully nostalgia loses its grip hold on the industry, because we're, like I said,
we get more original content.
Yeah, we're reaching to the point where it's like
we've reached our peak. We have
Yeah.
definitely reached a peak.
and it's really hard. What's the word? Encouraging to see so many people have like gripes with it, and so many because I'm gonna be honest. I didn't choose to be I think I said this in the last episode, but I didn't choose to be a film person until my senior year of high school, and it was like a sudden like career change. And honestly, it was mostly fueled by, damn, shit's coming out. Maybe I should try to make something that
Yeah,
Or-
I don't know.
And it's encouraging to see like other people kind of have that same sentiment, like, let's let individual creators make something.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like, again, I don't know how much of a hot take this is, but my biggest problem with the MCU Spider-Man was always that we never saw this version of Spider-Man's origin story, like being bit by a spider, Uncle Ben, that stuff. And people are just like, oh, but we've already seen like that before in other Spider-Mans. It's like, yeah, but this is a different Spider-Man that we've never met before, in belonging to a specific franchise. So if you just start off going into this franchise, but I mean, I guess now that doesn't fucking matter since you have to start with the Tobey Maguire movies. You don't know who Spider-Man is. The children are going to be confused, and anyone that watches in the future is also going to be fucking confused. That's why I think that if you ever do a new version of a character, even if it's been done a million times, you still need to show their origin story somehow, or just like mention it. All you have to fucking do is mention it, and I will accept that.
We're talking about nostalgia factor and all that. I'm like, thought about this. The four biggest films that I can think of and heard talk about are all steeped in nostalgia, or at least having to have prior knowledge of stuff. Like Multiverse of Madness, understanding Marvel Cinematic Universe, Lightyear, understanding the Toy Story universe, Elvis, understanding who Elvis was and what his life story is, having sort of interest in that. And then Top Gun Maverick, really sequel to 80s film. Just like
Top Gun, yeah.
Just like, wow, we've really steeped into it. Like, one of my favorite movies that have come this year is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just because it was a multiversal movie, something that was fresh to the system rather than a remake of something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Just an off-topic thing that I just was like, it's an interesting way to connect that. Like, really see how deep into nostalgia we are.
Right.
Yeah,
It truly does have like a chokehold on the fucking industry at the moment, and I kind of agree with Misael. I do really want it to die. How many terrible reboots must we go through before the industry finally decides to stop doing this?
and
How many live action Kim Possibles are we gonna get?
if you think about it, like, technically speaking, this has been going on for like quite a while, actually, because if I'm not sure how nostalgic it would have been, but I feel like labeling nostalgia as like the villain isn't like the correct, because if you think about it, most of like the Disney Renaissance films are not original. They're based off of some story that people probably would have heard growing up, but they like, I guess, put their own new take on it.
They put their own twist in it. It's not nostalgia itself. It's the fact that it's a shitty project that's just like using nostalgia as a crutch. It's like, it's that thing you remember. It's like, okay, but do something with it. Don't make it bad. Do something good with it.
Yeah, and I feel like in doses, nostalgia could be good, but like the fact that it has the stranglehold in the industry is like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Right.
But my
I mean,
favorite.
yeah, to be fair, there's no such thing as an original story. But
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
No, it's fine. My favorite thing is to like kind of go on YouTube and just kind of like look at what people are doing, because you could probably find like a bunch of, I guess, series that haven't been picked up, but you can like see the pilot episodes, and it's really cool what people are doing, you know. And even if it's like older stuff, it's still like the fact that I feel like we're reaching to that point where indie creation is gonna like be on the rise again, or it's going to, or at least new stuff, new content, because I feel like people are starting to get tired of it. So the nostalgia stuff.
It's not like it'll ever really release from where its grasp is. I think it might listen. But hopefully this rise of indie makers will be voiced to be like, hey, we can make stuff that will sell and be profitable, isn't solely reliant on knowing 100 different things potentially about movie before going in.
But yeah, no, there's like that one meme where it's just like, it's like children in the year 2050 having to watch a billion movies and a billion TV shows just to understand the next Marvel movie. It truly, like, eventually listen, as much as I love the MCU, it has to die. I don't know when, but it has to. Because you can't keep doing this shit, and you need to make like new versions of these characters going forward. You know, you can't keep just doing the same thing over and over again. I guess.
Yeah, and it's like, even though we say like something, like it's one of those things where we say it, but then like we're in the theaters when the next movie comes out.
Well, yeah, listen. I haven't missed an opening weekend of an MCU film since the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm not breaking that streak, so.
I guess I'll know where you're gonna be tomorrow.
Yeah, I actually have plans to see it tomorrow with friends.
Incredible. But yeah, well, like if you think about it, like like I said, like, you know, we'll be the ones in theaters, but I feel like despite its flaws, one good thing is that it's created such a cool theater experience. Because my favorite, like, I remember going to see Endgame, right? And the fact that everyone there was just as hype as I was to see this movie, and like all like the cheering, and I was like, damn, this was a really cool theater experience, you know?
Did I tell you that I was the only person that cheered in my theater when Daredevil showed up on screen in No Way Home?
Yeah.
But what made it even funnier was that my friend who was sitting next to me when we saw the movie, he told me this after when the credits started rolling. He was just like, the second I saw him on screen, my first thought to myself was, oh, Dom's gonna start cheering. And before I even finished my thought, he started cheering. And again, I was the only person who fucking cheered when that happened too. So, great time. But yeah, no, like, again, with the Endgame, it truly has created it's a fun theater experience is what it is. And I think my favorite moment when I went and saw Endgame, I saw Endgame, I think a total of 3 times. And I saw it the first 2 times was the same day. Because I literally saw it back to back with two different people. And so I go to the other theater to meet up with my other friend. You know, I tell him, I'll get our drinks for us. You know, you just go in there. I've already seen the movie. I don't care if I miss the beginning again. Because, like I said, I just walked out of the movie. As I'm getting the drinks, I overhear one guy saying that they're not going to kill off Iron Man. They've been saying they're going to be killing off Iron Man since Age of Ultron. There's no way they're going to do it. And remember, I just walked out of seeing this movie already. I know for a fact they kill him. I truly wish I could have seen this guy's reaction, because that would have been the ultimate.
Anyone.
Yeah,
hasn't seen it.
It's been years. They've missed. The time limit's over. Yeah. But although I had a fun theater experience both times, I think the best theater experience would have been if I had saw that guy's face. And the reason I saw it the third time was because I heard Howard the Duck was in it, and I somehow missed him both times, so I had to go back a third time with another friend for him to point him out to me.
I remember watching the movie. I don't know if it was in theaters. I think it was. I had to have been at home or something when it came out on Disney Plus. I was watching it and I was looking at it, and then I saw Howard the Duck, but I didn't believe it. I was like, wait a second. So I like rewinded it. And I was like, is that? I was like, no fucking way. I saw Howard
Yeah, I
the
kept
Duck.
hearing. Yeah, everybody kept going. You saw Howard the Duck, right? Howard the Duck was in the final battle. I was like, the fuck you mean Howard the Duck was in the final battle? It's just like, Dom, he was definitely fucking there. It's like, you're fucking trying to gaslight me. He's like, no, we will go see the movie, and we fucking found a time to go see it together. Just to get to the final battle. I saw him. I was like, holy shit, he was always there. Yeah. You were telling the truth. Holy crap. Yeah, it's a fun theater experience, is what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as we complain and talk about the problems, it's still at the end of the day is a fun theater experience.
Yeah.
Wonder if in the future they already did call this in the box set. The stuff that we've seen so far, except for like Phase 4, was the Infinity Saga. I wonder if they're just gonna call things sagas from now. You have the phases that break up the sagas.
Probably.
Yeah.
Most likely what they're going with. And this is like the Multiverse Saga or some shit. Like the Kang Saga.
Something.
I mean, we've already been to Infinity. Now we're in B.
Now we're in.
Yeah, and we're in Beyond.
Oh man.
The Beyond Saga.
Saga.
No, this is the And Saga. Beyond Saga is the next one.
Beyond Saga is the third one.
Yeah.
Got it. So we had the Infinity, the And Saga, and then the Beyond Saga.
And then they're gonna make a bunch of prequels called 2.
Yeah. The 2 Saga. It's everything that takes place before Captain America.
Yeah. Although I will say that I'm liking that they're going forward in the timeline, because we talked about this in our Kenobi episode. Or I don't know if we did, but I'm gonna bring it up now. I really hate how the Star Wars franchise right now is jumping between different time periods. Cause then they have to cause then they're constrained by what has to happen in order for this the canon to make sense. Versus the MCU where they can they can do whatever they want, just has to make sense progressing forward, versus something like the Star Wars series where it has to make sense in that particular you're trapped both forward and back.
No, but here's the thing though, is that for I'm finally glad we're past this point, but for the longest fucking time, every single post-Endgame Marvel movie took place project took place before Spider-Man Far From Home. So they were right after Endgame came out, Far From Home came out, and then everything that came out for the longest fucking time took place in between those two movies. And I was just like, okay, when are we finally gonna get past it? And we're finally past it, and I'm so fucking happy we have finally reached this point. I think we reached that point with I think it was What If that finally broke that point.
No.
But even then, What If is a little shaky.
Well, I was gonna say WandaVision explored the future.
No, because WandaVision takes place right after Endgame, but it's still before Far From Home.
Well, didn't Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Nope, that was also still before Far From Home.
Wasn't it 6 months before Far From Home?
Yeah. But still, okay, I understand we gotta do, the whole adjusting, because even Black Widow was here, it's not even before Far From Home. This is shit's right after Civil War. This is before Endgame. And, everybody after Endgame wants to see what happened before Endgame. It's not even part of the I think they count Far From Home as part of the Infinity Saga, but Black Widow is more Infinity Saga than Far From Home. So fuck off. No, it's not. It's just post Infinity Saga. Fuck you.
That was weird when I saw because I get what Far From Home was supposed to do, but at the same time it felt kind of weird where it's it's the Toy Story 4 of the Marvel franchise, where let's be honest, the one before Endgame was actually the ending, but this is kind of the what happens after the story.
Yeah, but it's not needed. It's okay, it's fine, but why? Although I will say the Mysterio visual effects in that movie are top notch.
Oh yeah.
His powers were literally visual effects, and that's where this is the one time where CGI like worked in Marvel's favor because it was
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't supposed
You
to.
could
look
tell
real
what the
because-
illusions were.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to look real because it wasn't real. It was all illusions. But yeah,
Yeah.
I found it really funny how when it first came out, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Jake Gyllenhaal played such a good Mysterio," and then when Taylor Swift released that one song, all the Swifties were like,
Oh, yeah, all the Swifties.
they were like, "Of
Swifties
course,
are just.
of course they,
Are
you
you-
know, of course he played a manipulator," and so and they like kind of turned on him. I thought that was funny.
Listen, all Swifties are one stands. I don't make the rules.
Oh, man.
God, I'm gonna be shot for that one by a fucking Swiftie. One to stand for sure. But
It's a good thing.
yeah,
Good thing your real face
No.
isn't shown.
yeah, good. Good thing it's just a coyote. Oh my God, but yeah, no, I don't. I did like Mysterio. I just remember though when the movie was again. I like a life. I said this in the Kenobi thing. I was a lifelong Star Wars fan. I've also been a lifelong Spider-Man fan because I grew up with like reruns of the '90s cartoon and the Tom Holland movie. And Mysterio was always one of my favorite villains, and I always knew he was like a villain that like just kind of fucked with people's minds. He's a gaslighter. That's basically what it is. He fucks with people. So I remember the trailers coming out. I was like, oh, cool, Mysterio's gonna be the villain. I can't wait to see how he like fucks with Peter. And like, I think it was that moment I realized how many like non-comic people are like the true audience of the MCU films when they were like, wow, I can't wait to meet this new hero Mysterio. And I'm just like, fucking what? What are you talking about? This is like one of Spider-Man's like greatest enemies.
Oh, so I like how like I'm not sure if it was intended to be like a super like twist or whatever, but I like how that they were trying to play it off. It's like when I first saw the trailer, and they brought up and he brought up like the multiverse and stuff. I was like, there's like a small chance that he's actually a good guy, but like let's be real here. It's the Mysterio we all know. Like the homie's a villain. You're not fooling anyone. Even if you weren't like
He's
a
always a villain.
yeah, even if you weren't a comic or whatever fan, if you just looked up the word Mysterio, you would get the villain's wiki.
Yeah, no, because my roommate, who I know for a fact is not a comics fan, nor does he like care about like any of the Marvel stuff, he'll just go see it with me because he's like he has nothing better. Like he would have nothing better to do. He just like yeah, sure, I'll go see the movies. He straight up told me that when it was coming out, he's just like, oh, Mysterio looks pretty cool. He had no idea who he is, and he looked just like, oh, he's supposed to be a villain. So he literally had that whole thing. Like I kind of forgive him, but like. It really was just kind of like an eye-awakening moment where I realized despite how popular like this stuff is, comics still are a niche thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably more accurate to say that. Damn it, I lost the point. But point is that the comics and the movies are two different audiences.
They are. There's no question.
Like there is crossover, but it's not like
I think at some point they also realized that, and they started solely focusing on the movie audience and not the comic audience. Which then we can then wrap that back around to the fact that Multiverse of Madness has the first MCU movie since Phase 1 to truly have a style to it.
Yes. Yeah. Any more final thoughts on MCU or whatever, or Multiverse of Madness?
Multiverse of Madness.
The Multiverse of Madness.
This episode has really been the multiverse.
Yeah, we've talked about so much stuff. That's our Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll be back for Thor.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll probably be back for Thor.
If I watch it in time. At this point, I don't know. I will be seeing it with a friend.
Fucking Mitchell saw it because he's in Korea and it's already out over there. Fucking bitch.
He holds power over us right now.
He does, and that kind of scares me. We should never let Mitchell have power.
Yes.
I don't even know who that is.
We'll be glad you don't, because he could spoil Thor.
He could spoil the movie for you.
But yeah, this was
One bad thing about Zack Snyder, and he'll spoil his Thor: Love and Thunder for us.
We gotta be careful. But yeah, this was a good episode, y'all. I just realized that I forgot to play the jazz music, so I'll have to add that in post. I forgot to add the sweet, sweet tunes. But anyways, thank you two for joining me. Thank you for joining me on this podcast adventure. Hope you guys will return for the next episode. But y'all want to say any like farewells or whatever?
This truly has been a Doctor Strange
Multiverse of Madness.